proudly brought to you by CIPM and Lagos Talks 91.3. It's a very interesting partnership, and very soon we will be introducing our guests. So on the office today, as you know, we discuss issues that pertain to your career, the office, and ways that you can thrive, especially those in the HR sector and even every single stakeholder along in the entire organization. And before we get you into the topic for today, I'd like to introduce my guest. My guest is a certified trainer and holds an advanced certificate in advanced human resources management from Cornell University Institute of Labor Relations School, New York, in the United States. In addition, she holds international certification as a strategic business development professional and strategic alliance expert from the Continuous Professional Development Institute in the UK. Now, as a leader in various roles, she's managed diverse teams with different needs across cultures, ethnicity, locally and internationally. Now, this has exposed her to the strategic role that human resource management plays in society, organizations, governments, and even within the community. But before now, she has held the position of Managing Director and Executive Board Member of Warm Spring Water Nigeria Limited, which is a subsidiary of UAC of Nigeria PLC, and General Manager of Operations, Mr. Biggs. My guest is dedicated to developing and, of course, impacting life skills in adolescents, especially the girl child. She holds workshops, which is called Life Skills for Girls, with sessions in education of physical, social, moral, personal, and of course, sexual development, presentation skills, and sexual abuse. She is currently the CEO of Ace of Diamonds Limited, which is a management consulting and business development firm, and a fellow, of course, of CIPM. My guest is Mrs. Folake Oshinyemi, FCIPM, CEO of Ace of Diamonds Limited. Welcome to the conversation, Ma. We are so glad to have you join us today on The Office. Good evening.
Good evening, Michelle. Thank you very much. Nice to be here once again.
Always. Thank you for joining us today. Today we'll be talking about reskilling for changing workplace demands. This is a very interesting topic because just like everything else, the workplace surely evolves. And with this evolution, and as we go into different years and different generations, there is a need to reskill and adapt to the changes along the way. I'd like you to please give us a background understanding of the concept of reskilling. What is reskilling?
Thank you very much once again, Michelle. Before we go into reskilling and talking about the concept, I would like to also mention that there are issues that has accelerated the need for reskilling. COVID-19 happened, and here we are, all of us working from different environments, planned or unplanned. And at the same time, our world has changed in the last 3 years now, going to 3 years. And we cannot continue to work the way we're working. Aside from that, globalization. And, you know, with globalization, the world is, technology has enhanced our ability to work globally from anywhere as well. And as we're working, depending on the organization you work for, if you're working for an MNC, which is multinational company, then you'll have to interact with cross-cultural teams. Climate change is there, then the employee life cycle. These are issues, of course, digitization. And these are things that has actually accelerated the pace here for us to be talking about skilling, reskilling the workforce. So that's the background that we have. So with all of this, about 7 items that I've mentioned, digitization, globalization, employee life cycle changing, then we also have incursion of artificial intelligence, you know, and robotics and all of this. So, and generations, our generations are changing. People in the workplace currently will, in the next 2 years, by 2025, we're going to have a complete different set of people, generations working. We have 3 generations currently, but it's going to change drastically from 2025. So that's the purpose, and that's the reason we're discussing reskilling.
All right. Thank you very much for that explanation and everything that we need to understand about the background and how we got here, or why it is important that we evolve and adapt to the changes that we are clearly seeing for different reasons. You did mention COVID, which clearly changed the dynamics with which we work. People now work remote, and it's also helped in some of the possibilities or highlights of COVID, although clearly people lost their lives, is the fact that it actually improved technology across the world and helped the workforce or the working environments find a pathway to better and interesting ways of doing things. What is the importance of an organization, and what impact does it have on career growth when it comes to reskilling?
For organizations that are forward-looking, we all are aware that, like I mentioned, there is this research that was carried out by the World Economic Forum. And you cannot continue to do, you will not thrive as an organization where you don't have a workforce that is ready to embrace the change that is on us as of today. And it's just that for anyone that wants to work or continue to work, the way we work has changed. The needs of work has changed. We may work from anywhere. Once you are technology enabled, which means that previously we were working in the office and now we have to sit. You can sit anywhere. You're out of your office. You can also continue to work. So the impact of skilling on career growth is the employee must be open to learning, and you must adopt new technology. So if we do not know how to use, basically someone was telling me this afternoon, I had a chat and he said, sorry, some people in my office cannot use the communication tools. They cannot use Zoom, or they're not very proficient in the use of Teams. So, I mean, such people, it means that they're still glued to paper, you know, brick and mortar kind of thing, paper and pen, and all of that. And they still have to type before things, instead of getting on, cutting off all those fat and then going straight for the meat, which is going directly using technology to enable and make their work faster. So such a person in a team will drag the team down. And if the person is open to learning, yes, you can learn. But if not, then when the butcher comes with his hacksaw, you know that those are the people that will get chopped off first. So it's very important to protect your own career and also the organization you work for. You have to embrace technology. That's pretty much a lot of our processes are digitized now. So you must understand how to navigate your work within that workspace.
All right, it's very important. It's very important to be teachable, open-minded, and get ready to adapt to new things, learn new things, and embrace technology. That's the only way to really function in today's world. It doesn't even have to be, it doesn't have to do with sometimes even the organization that you currently work for. It's just an important life skill. It's becoming an important life tool to live with, technology. Now, I'd like to understand the impact of reskilling in the entire life cycle of an employee. What is the impact of reskilling on them?
The employee life cycle commences from the attraction stage. When I talk attraction, the time that the employee sends his CV, begins to look at the organization and all of that. Before now, we would send we were writing by pen. After that, we start sending mails or dropping in the organization physically. But presently, you do not need to do that. Okay. Between your employee attraction and selection process, and then next engagement and development, before that, you have to use technology. I want to focus on the HR function now. There are some tools that can be used to enable this process of attraction, selection, and induction of an employee. So once you are attuned to the use of technology, it makes your work faster. It makes it easier for you to achieve your goals. So it is very important that the person who is in charge of recruitment is aware, enabled, can do, and can work with technology in order that his own life cycle, his own work, because when you, to assure and ensure that your own job is still relevant, you must know how to use technology. Then there are tools that you can use in recruitment. You don't need to invite employees to your site to take tests and all of that. They can do it at their convenience, and then you give them a result. Then when you're talking of engagement and development, these same tools, once an HR person can use them, they're online. I don't want to mention their names. You can learn. An employee must continue to engage and make sure that he is aware and well-trained in the use of these tools. Some of those tools that that can be used in recruitment is such that once that person has passed the test, the letter of engagement is sent. The person comes physically now to see the organization, takes maybe you need to take medical tests, but at least the alert for your test will get to you. You go for your medicals. You are only coming to the organization the day you are resuming, but you already have your letter. So you can see that people who are attuned to the use of technology, every point in the employee life cycle that they are in, they are able to perform, they're able to align, and they're able to also advise the organization about what to do next. They can use the tools. The tools makes everything accessible to them. They are available and they are affordable. So it's now left to the person or to this employee who has now been recruited to the organization to also begin to understand that his or her own life cycle depends on his ability to also make use of these tools that have been provided to be used. If such a person is in the HR profession, the use of, there are tools you can use to track performance of your team members. There are communication tools like Slack, and I don't want to mention their names, but that slipped. And some other ones that you can use to communicate. All right.
Thank you. Now, it's no news that the pandemic has changed the meaning of work. It's very evident to us. Even you and I right now are in two different spaces. You might even be in the US at the moment. And here we are having a great conversation and educating listeners. It's only technology can do this. Now, the pandemic clearly has changed the meaning of work. Should employers take the initiative to reskill the workforce? Because some of them have not seen the need for it. Some of them actually just believe that it should be the employees' prerogative, or sometimes they're not as involved as they should be in the upskilling or retraining of their staff to adapt to the modern day technology. Do you think that employers should take the initiative to reskill the workforce?
Michelle, definitely yes. Employees and employers should take the initiative to reskill. As you have also mentioned that the pandemic has changed the meaning of work. With the World Economic Forum study that I mentioned to you, that by 2025, jobs will require completely new skill sets.
Okay.
So where the skills are still the mundane ones or the ones that are still available, putting pen to paper and all of that, and seeing people before you can hold meetings, then you will not be able to work.
Okay.
The ecosystem is going to change completely. So the employers must provide learning opportunities such that the employees can reskill and upskill. And, you know, I want to quickly mention this, that in CIPM, we actually provide the opportunity for, there are programs, development programs through which or by which the employers can either upskill or reskill their members. There are opportunities for that. And of course, there's a calendar that is available for you to look at the program you'd like to pick up. But I want to mention quickly that employers must provide these learning opportunities in tune with the strategy of the organization and the digitization or technological investments that they want to make in the future. It will no longer be, it will be relevant for you to develop an employee in line with skills that will not be relevant in the next 2 to 3 years. If you are making investments in technology, then of course, you have to ensure that your people begin to pick up the skills. They probably won't be there when they, if it's manufacturing sector or a mining sector, you know, you just have to ensure that while these investments are being made, your people are there, and then they attend the trainings, so that from the beginning, they are already, from the beginning of the investment, they already are aligning their needs. They're asking questions, they're learning, they have the opportunity to interact with that technology, so that when the line is set and is running, there will be minimal hiccups. Then the trainings must always be, like I said, must be accessible, available, and affordable. I quickly want to also chip in that aside from looking at the organizations and corporate organizations on government, we also have to look at our educational systems. We need to, there needs to be a change, a total change, because the people who are going to start working from 2025, of course, at that time, baby boomers are out between 65 and 60. Retirement age in Nigeria is 60. So even people who are 55 must get ready to, will be getting ready to leave. So we must make sure that our educational system is such that they can transit easily and globally adopt the technology or digital trends that is required for it to work, by investing in STEM programs that will provide everybody with entrepreneurial culture, so that when our graduates come out, they're not just study business, this, you know, some courses that may not deliver optimally on what is required by the society. So that's about that.
All right, thank you. Thank you for sharing that with us. Now, apart from reskilling, or let me even ask, what are some of the skills required to meet the ever-changing workplace demands? You're very exposed to different tools because you've chaired different organizations, you've worked in different organizations, you train people, you impact people every single day. I'm sure there are some skills or tools that you can share with us, share with the listeners on that is actually required for them to meet the ever-changing workplace demands of today.
Okay, thank you very much for that question. It's actually an exciting one for me. Now, remember, I will keep mentioning or going back to this new world of work. We call it the fourth revolution, industrial revolution 4.0. 85 million jobs will be displaced. There's going to be a shift by 2025, and 97 new jobs will come on. And these jobs comes with their different skills. And if you, a few years back, 2020 to 2015 to from 2012 to 2015, definition of some skills that are required in the workplace. Some of them, we'll talk about complex problem solving, judgment and decision, active listening, creativity, and critical thinking, negotiation, and all of that, quality control and management. By 2025, some of those skills would have been redefined. And the skills that will be top now will be analytical thinking and innovation, creativity. Those are the things that we will need. And of course, next to that will be active learning and learning strategies. You must be able to learn. If you cannot learn, you can't work in the digital economy and technology. Complex problem solving, of course, it will come with that. And I think all those, emotional intelligence we talk about, yes, it may be there, but resilience, stress management, tolerance, flexibility, these are the skills. So the skill set we need will change. So those top skills that we are talking about now that will be relevant, and we know this 2023, 2025 is just a year and 12 a year and 10 months away from us. So you can see that the machine algorithms and all of these things that will be needed, people will need to learn about it, because we are talking about new divisions of labor between humans and machines and algorithms. Because I look at it from the perspective of people will still work with these machines and with this interact with this robotics that will also share the workspace with us. So it's very important that employees begin to engage with the digitalized work processes that is going to come. And those who are unemployed, of course, by 2025, who are unemployed now, their skill sets will be different because they are coming fresh. They are going to be looking at learning digital skills, such as the big data, analytics, and infotech, information technology, aside from what people have learned before, so psychology, physiology, sociology, all those social sciences and business studies, business management is inherent. Those are skills that will be inherent in the management of what you do. Then, of course, I almost left that out. That is the employee experience at the place of work will also matter at that time, because you are working using robotics and also working with human beings on the manufacturing floor. You may have a robotic that is running some form of work that is going on, and then you have to interact with it and all of that. And then you must know there will be limits and boundaries for between the human being and the artificial intelligence or robotic that might have been deployed at that time.
All right, very, very important that we scale up and have all these skills at our disposal for better work, for just better work productivity in general. Now, apart from reskilling, we also hear about upskilling. It's different, right? I believe there's a difference somewhere. What is the difference or the relationship between reskilling and upskilling?
Now, reskilling means that an employee needs to get knowledge and skills to take on a different role. Peradventure, the person has been displaced from the current work. If you recollect, we had switch boxes around in organizations. You call the switch box, then they connect you and all of that. There was a person taking that, who was running that role previously. But with the with the change in technology that we are using now, communication technology, we no longer need or require a switch box to get to anybody mobile. Okay. So you have a mobile phone and you can even get the person by mail. So that person who was at that box before, we now reskill the person That's why we must be open to learning. So we change his role and put the person out to do another job, training the person, equipping the person with the necessary skills to go on or get on with the next role. Upskilling is where an employee gains an entirely new skill to help in the current job responsibility. The person may be, let me look for a role now, in manufacturing. The person may be the chief engineer, and all he does is to physically interact with a particular aspect of the line. But in upskilling now, because you have changed, we have digitalized, we have artificial intelligence, we have all of those things, you may have to learn how to program those lines. Previously, now he just has, currently he has a rigid, just punch some buttons, whatever you are pumping or working on is going to the next place. You have to interact or interface manually. But with the digitalized one, it has to program it and then understand how to work with this role. I'll also say, like somebody who works on accounting and is used to just typing or writing down his documents, will have to either, if you go on either SAP or any of this thing before that they use in spreadsheets and all of that, he has to make sure that to complete his balance sheet, he's able to also use the artificial digitized form in order that he can get to round up his role and pick up that new skill to enhance his work efficiency. All so right. That's what reskilling and upskilling is about.
The difference, yeah. All right, to wrap it up, as an experience, of course we have more questions, but as an experienced professional, what advice do you have for HR in reskilling the workforce?
Now, for HR, in reskilling the workforce,
yes,
there must be collaboration between the employees and the employer.
Okay.
And we must recognize, or must agree that the digital world is upon us. There are new learnings, there are new skills, there's growing demand for learning. And we also need to integrate our skills to the current or new life that we're going to step into. So where we have to automate as an organization, I will expect or require that it will be required that the HR or the organization, because HR cannot take the decision without the top the bosses. There will be automation. Where there's automation, then there must be collaboration between HR, so that we're not just automating, we are moving away from automation now, but we are making sure that where we are involving artificial intelligence, humans can also work within that environment in order that they don't lose their jobs. We can make them to reskill and take another role, or upskill in order that they are still there. And learning is lifelong. So these are the things that HR can do. Now also, the employee, his or herself, can also invest, because learning is not only from your employer. You need to invest in yourself. A lot of times I find people now who don't even know who don't know much about what is available. What stops us from getting a certification from any of these tools that you can learn? And also in CIPM, there are some certification courses that people can take up in related fields, so that they begin to develop themselves in this line. Employees must not wait until the employer takes them or nominates them to attend the session. Look the world is a global village, and you just need to make sure that you are relevant. If not, once you don't have the skills that we're talking about, you become out of touch and irrelevant. You will no longer be delivering value to the organization. And once you don't deliver value to the organization, then you're going to be out. So we need to do some self-study. Invest in yourself. Beyond the place of work, you will still find those skills relevant. It is only here that we say, I'm now 50. I need to retire. I'm now 60. You retire, but your brain, you need to use it. In other areas, once you are certified and you can work on you can use some particular tools, then you continue to be relevant no matter your age. So certifications and the use of interest in technology is very important to be able to use and maneuver and remain relevant. You don't have the current skills, you will not be relevant in the next 2 years. That is the bitter part of it, or it is the truth that has come upon us.
Right. Now, in your opinion, on a scale of 1 to 5, how much do you think employees and employers easily embrace change?
Change is permanent. It's the only thing that is permanent, because even our life sports, we had to change from childhood to wherever stage we're in now. So if an employer is not willing to change, there's something we talk about in management. Then you either innovate or you evaporate. So if you're not willing to invest in your organization, you're not willing to look at what impact technology may have, you will be left at where you are. Nobody's going to patronize. Either you lose business, you lose patronage, because the products you'll be turning out or the people working with you, they will no longer find relevance. In fact, the machines you are using, you know that in the world of today, we have telephones, different types of devices, and they continue to upgrade and update, reduce, improve. So by the time you are coming to look for the spare parts of your manufacturing lines, if you don't update and improve your lines, you will find that you have become irrelevant, moribund. Your lines will not be able to function. So it is to the advantage of the organization to continue to embrace change in the world of today. And for the employee, the more you are open to change, the more relevant you are, the more you will continue, or you will be able to walk through your career, even change your career. Who says that you must be in a particular line? An engineer can become a software person. Somebody who sits in manufacturing before can, technology is such that there's high demand for it now. It's endless. So we need to embrace it. So anybody who doesn't embrace it has embraced his own irrelevance, become irrelevant, and then you are out of place. I mean, now we're looking at cashless economy in Nigeria. The Nigerian card is coming up, and we will no longer use all those ones. So if you cannot operate some of these things and use them and embrace technology, and you're just going to be...
you will evaporate.
You innovate or you evaporate. Once you are evaporating from the workplace, that's exit. And once you are exited, that's bye-bye. Now the day is over.
All right. It's very important that we evolve and we change. You said it rightly from the beginning that change is constant in life, and people change every day. People do different things every day. And when it comes to technology or tools, especially as it relates to your career, the importance of evolving and reskilling yourself and upskilling yourself cannot be overstated. It's very evident for everyone to see. And like you said, it's either you innovate or you evaporate. And people are not trying to evaporate, not in this economy. And that's why it's almost as if with the economical situations in the country, that not just in the country, but around the world, it's almost as though you have no choice but to innovate. Else you would literally be left behind, and there'll be no one there to take care of you. You really just have to keep going with the times, improving yourself, get as much education as you can, be certified, learn a new skill. And there's so many tools that are actually free online that you can learn. You might not get the certificates, but the knowledge will always be with you. And it's important that we continue to evolve and upgrade ourselves as we grow older, especially in our field. Thank you so much, Mrs. Folake, for sharing all of these very wonderful nuggets and insights with us. I'm thinking we can take maybe a few calls before we go. So if you'd like to ask a question or you'd like to join the conversation and maybe just contribute to the program or just ask a question, you can do so. The phone lines are 0809 191 3913, 0809 222 0913, 0809 234 5913. You can also tweet at Lagos Talks 913. That is at Lagos Talks 913, or send us a message on WhatsApp 0809 234 5913. That is 0809 234 5913 for questions via the WhatsApp platform. Lagos Talks, good evening. Hello. Are you there? Can you hear us? Oh, sorry. Do call back to join the conversation. All right, we have a message here. This is coming from Harry from Yaba. Harry from Yaba is saying, Michelle, I am an Uber driver and my girlfriend is in customs. How can we reskill so as to work from home? We'll come back to this question shortly after this call. Lagos Talks, good evening.
Good evening, sure. That was interesting. So I was even going to ask in line, go to the line.
Go ahead.
Yeah, talk of work from home. For married people, how do you handle your two? So, for example, you have children around and you're talking about AI or ethics and all. Do you see yourself, how do you balance it? How do you secure those AI, the robotics for your children? Because we millennium, we know how to do that, but the children, the Gen Z, they don't know. They all want to explain those things. And I also heard you talking about skill, resilience, these skills and patience and all. So how do you balance it out? Then again, I'm on a different type of this quick innovation, chat GPT, some of these stuff. Do you see our modern way evolve the way we do things in Africa, so as well? Thank you.
All right, thank you, Ibuka. Ma'am, did you get the question?
I didn't get it. It sounded muffled. However, the first question I got, but the person who called in, I couldn't hear him clearly.
Okay.
His sound was muffled.
Okay. Okay, let's attempt the first question then, which had to do with children and how to manage like family if both parents, for example, are working remote or adapting to these new technologies. How can they find that work-life balance, especially with kids in this very interesting technological age that we are today?
Okay, the challenge is how the parents can manage the presence of the children while they're working, right?
Yes.
Well, it goes back to discipline. Children have their time. They go to school, they return. Do they have chores to do, homework to attend to? And then the parents could also clearly mark out a part of the house that is their office, and also teach the children, train them up in a way that you don't just come in, you must knock while I'm here. So you need to have some ground rules that will manage that trend. If not, of course, children will always be children and want to come in when you're having meetings. During the COVID days, we will see, you are talking and then your children, because it was new, your children will come and they will be peeping behind you. When you're having Zoom meetings, people can see your children. But after some time, you have to be firm with your children to say, look, this is my office. And between this hour and this hour, you don't come in. If there's anything, knock the door and wait. And then you go and check. It also depends on the age of the children. So if both parents are working from home, they need to have clear ground rules. They also need to attend to the children properly before you begin your work. Attend to them and make sure that their needs are taken care of. It depends on their age. You know, we don't know the age of these children, so it can be managed. And both parents can also have a time where, when one is working from home at the particular side of the room or of the house, then the other parent is looking after the children, especially where they still need the attention of either of the parents to do anything, where they are toddlers and things like that. They will always call mommy, mommy, daddy, daddy. That is understandable. So you just need to work, because I don't know perfectly what the situation with the people are.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. We'll stop here today. Very, very interesting session, Mrs. Folake.
First one for the Uber.
Yeah. Okay. Yes. Let's talk about the Uber. Yes, I almost missed that. Thank you for reminding
me. The first one for the Uber. The husband is the Uber driver. The wife works with the customs.
Yes, Harry.
Now,
from Harry.
Okay, from Mr. Harry. That is not all the jobs that you can work from home. If you don't go out, that's transportation. You always have to be at your wheels, but technology is coming. I mean, I've seen unaided cars. I think about a month ago, I saw that. Taxis now, but it's not here yet, that will drive itself. But you know, in Nigeria, we still need to improve our energy, our source of energy. But in climes where they don't have that challenge, they're already looking at electric cars and all of that. So that may attend to your business when we have that technology in place. But for the customs, except the wife's work is such that she's administrative, she may work from home while she can use the digital platform of the organization. If she cannot use the digital platform of the organization, it's a job that she has to inspect trucks and things, so she has to be physically there. When we're talking digitalization and all of that, it does not mean that everybody we now have to abandon all the roles to technology. There are some roles that you still have to supervise or superintend over to make sure that they are carried out, or they are done, or they are achieved. So it depends on the peculiarity of your job or your assignment or your role in a particular workspace.
All right.
Last words.
Yes. Any last words before you go?
Michelle, I got you.
Yes.
Now, my last word, because it appears that person who was talking about how can we learn when the children are there, I think that learning is endless. It's to the extent you push yourself. I watched, there was a clip I saw, a race. The youngest of the people on that race, I think it's 50-meter or 100-meter race, was 82. The 83, 85, then they had a man who was 100 years old, and the man made it, I think it was 4th place, and the 83-year-old or 85 was the 1st place. And you know, it depends on what you learn yourself to. Learning, lifelong learning is what I want to talk about here, and I want to quote Bruce Lee. Bruce Lee says that learning is never cumulative. It is a movement of knowing, which has no beginning and no end. A movement of knowing which has no beginning and no end. That's what Bruce Lee said, that learning is never cumulative. So which means that you don't know when you begin, it doesn't have an end, which means that you continue to learn. Continuous learning, lifelong learning. You don't retire, and no one is too old to learn. So we have to embrace it. Just continue to embrace it. And the more you put your brain to work, the better for your psyche, the better for your health. And that is what I just have for us this evening. And I thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. We should be thanking you. Everyone's thanking you. Thank you so much, Mrs. Folake, for joining us today. This is very helpful. All of the tools, the insights, the nuggets. As a matter of fact, we still have calls. People still want to speak to you. And may I crave your indulgence for maybe, I was going to take one more call, but I think...
Please go ahead. I'm available.
Okay. All right. If you'd like to join the conversation, ask more questions, do call 0809-191-3913. Lagos Talks. Oh, sorry about that. You can call back 0809-191-3913, 0809-222-0913, or 0809-234-5913. My guest today is Mrs. Folake Oshinyemi. She is the CEO of Ace of Diamonds Limited. She's a certified trainer and holds an advanced certificate in advanced human resources management from Cornell University. I could go on and on about her background, and I'm sure you can tell from how she speaks with the wealth of experience that she's sharing with us today. Lagos Talks, good evening.
Yeah, thank you very much, Michelle.
Yes.
And thanks for sending this mortgage for this section. So yeah, happy to come back. So the portfolio just said that, can she talk on the employers, talking about the salary payments, the bargains and all, how say people looking for work and really bargain on this thing. Not that when you go to school, acquire certificates, try professional courses and all. So how would people and again, are the employers able to pay for these very services? Thank you, Michelle.
Thank you very much. All right, let's take more calls. So he's asking and saying, okay, should we acquire all of these certifications and improve? We upskill, we relearn, we reskill ourselves in our careers, in our fields. How do we negotiate or bargain for good salaries? Because that's what the end goal is for many, like himself. That's from Ebuka.
Salary administration has got to do with the organization you want to work for or work with. Yeah. Globally, it depends on where you're looking, really. Quite a number of people that I know work, they live here, they don't want to leave Nigeria, they don't want to japa. They are in their homes and they're working 2 jobs. I have someone close to me, works 2 jobs and he earns in foreign exchange. And he works for 2, one MNC, one PHC. And the thing is, this person negotiated his package. So it depends. It depends on how you presented and what skill you possess. If you possess the relevant skills, the right organizations will search for you. And you may also have the right qualification and certifications. I'm talking certification in what the current trends now, digitization, things that are relevant, not a certification in typing and shorthand. No, those irrelevant ones. We are talking about the relevant ones. Now, if you are not getting the right hits, then you need to relook how you have written or presented yourself online in order that you can become attractive to the organization that can pay your bill. If that has been done, because of course they use search engines and all of that to do sorting of the people they will want to work for them. So if you don't get people locally to give you the right remuneration, then you should search globally. We are in a global space now. You don't have to go to any country to work for them. It depends on the role. Once you are IT enabled and you know your work is about communication or is about IT and all of these things, you can work from anywhere.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Let's take more calls because the phone lines, it's blowing up, and we will do this a little bit more. So keep the calls coming if you have more questions as regards your work life. Remember, we're also on the specific subject matter. Just to guide you, we're talking about reskilling for changing workplace demands. The workplace is ever evolving and changing. Are you reskilling yourself? Are you upskilling yourself? What are you doing to position yourself and your employees better for better productivity in general? So keep the calls coming if you'd like to ask more questions or maybe just contribute to the program. I'm thinking we can squeeze in just one last call before we go. 0809-1913-913, 0809-222-0913. You can also call the landline numbers in case the other lines are giving you a little bit of trouble. It's 01515-0913, 01515-1913. Those are the numbers to call. But yes, everything's been said from your end. So we'd like to just quickly thank you, Madam, for joining us today and for sharing all of these very interesting words with us and all of these insights. We do appreciate you for joining us. What would you like to say as a word of encouragement for our listeners here that are maybe looking for new opportunities, or actually looking for a new job, or maybe just trying to find their path, or whatever it is, what words do you have for them as employees in the future?
You know, this is both sides of the sword now. Depends on what you're looking for and what you want. Some people have skills that are no longer relevant, or that will not be relevant in the next 2 years. Go and reskill. Go and reskill. You don't need, you can attend a university in the US or in the UK while you're here. You can take certification courses in the comfort of your home. Just invest in yourself. Look at that area you love. You may be a medical person, and you're looking at working on employee experience in the HR space. Go and get yourself certified. And look at the kind of certification, not just to acquire certifications, but it must be relevant to the present day work demands or the future demands of work. That's what we're talking about. You must be relevant. Your job, your work, your role must be relevant. We no longer have personnel managers. No. Even in organizations now, I mean, it's going to be pruned down. But with the use of AI and with the use of tools, HR tools that will do your performance management and do a lot of things for you, recruit people for you, write the letters, even appraisals. So you have to understand, what really do I want? Don't just join the bandwagon of this is what people are doing, I just want to do it. You must sit and introspect, understand what your needs are. And there must be a need you also want to fulfill in the market. Which place is good? Don't just jackpot for jackpot syndrome. You have to see and look and ensure that what you want to do is relevant, is needed, and is going to work in the next 50 years.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening.
Good evening. Yeah.
Welcome. Please turn on the volume on your radio.
Okay, Bamba.
All right.
So my name is Dahi.
Your name is?
Dahi.
All right. Go ahead, please.
Okay, my question to your guest is, let's say maybe from now, like 10 years or 20 years, how many jobs are at risk? How many people are going to lose their job due to technology, advancement in technology? And if you are going for maybe an interview, how do you prepare in terms of salary negotiation so that we don't overshoot how much they are paying present people there, or you don't undershoot yourself? So I can tell us more on that, please.
Oh, thank you. Interesting question. Did you hear all of it?
No, not clear at all. Please help me. Thank you.
He first of all talked about in the next 20 to 50 years, what are some of the jobs that are going to be extinct by the nature of the way technology is growing? And secondly, he's still on the salary question, asking how do you properly prep for an interview and show up without undershooting your target's worth or your worth in the industry, and also overshooting and losing out. How do you strike a balance when approaching a negotiation table? That was his second question. But his first one was on the jobs that might not be as relevant anymore. You did give an example of two, but I think he wants more.
Well, jobs that are not going to be relevant anymore, administrative jobs, roles that anybody can do, using Excel to do calculations, those jobs will no longer be there. So social, except you are in the medical line, the jobs that will remain are those that are front-facing. You need to relate with people like in the medical field, but they don't need to be with you. I think they're conducting virtual surgeries now and all of that. So if we have that breakthrough in technology to help people heal themselves, then we should take a look at every other job. Every other job is at risk. Every other job is at risk. We just need to, I mentioned that in changing the curriculum of the schools, we need to return to skills development, entrepreneurial jobs that entrepreneurs can take up in a small space, and you begin to work, and then you look for funds, and somebody sponsors, and the business booms. Those ones will continue to be relevant. Mm-hmm. However, there's no job that is not amenable to the use of technology to make it easier to navigate and also to turn out. It improves productivity and all of that. But it depends on the role that you actually want to be in. So that's about that. Then on negotiation, before you go to the negotiating table, you must look at the industry where you went to work. So if the industry, and there are industry demands for particular roles, there may be range. In foreign countries, they have a role, they have range that this role can, that they'll pay to. So it depends. If it's requesting for such international jobs, then you can ask around or even Google it. You can find information. Just look for information. Once you look for information, you will get the range to enable you negotiate adequately, either from people who work in that role, or just look at industry average. Check online. There are some, because I know there are peer reviews concerning salary administrations and things like that. So you may have to look at some organizations that carry out research in this regard. I think that will be helpful. Thank you.
All right. There's another question here, and this person is asking, please, can she recommend platforms to learn HR courses?
Well, CIPM. CIPM has calendar. Yes, I know that at www.cipmnigeria.org. So www.cipmnigeria.org. The person can get some courses that we have. It's not only, we don't do sitting alone. We also do implant. We can come to the organization to run the training training program. And also it depends on the interest of the person. You can look here and there and then, but I know I'm certain about CIPM that you can run programs with and that. But certifications as well, if it's got to do with IT certifications and all of that, you can also check with IT companies online, quite a number that you can, roles you can fit into.
Thank you so much. Would leave it here. It's been a whole hour of interesting, engaging conversations with you, Mrs. Folake. Thank you so much for joining us. My listeners are very happy. They've learned so much. I've learned so much, and clearly they'll be making better impact in their field. And at least now they understand the value of reskilling and upskilling themselves for a very changing, ever-changing workforce that is clearly getting more demanding as we go. We do appreciate you for your time, and we hope to have you back again sometime soon to discuss even more and share more interesting knowledge with us, and would really love you to do that as soon as possible. Thank you so much for joining us. Have a beautiful evening.
Thank you, Michelle. My name remains Folake Oshinyemi. Thank you very much. Have a wonderful evening. Bye. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.